Yeah, if you're programmed, then you need to be hardwired. If you're just diagnosing something, I don't care if you use it wirelessly. Really doesn't matter to me. But that's what your VCM manager does. Now I want to show you guys something. I'm not going to do it to this one, but I'm going to show you guys how to do it because I get this a lot. Okay. We got our fancy nice little VCM. Okay. So sometimes these things have issues. Okay. Where they'll get locked up or they won't configure properly, something like that. So I'll ask you guys to hard reset your VCM. Okay? So how you do that is you remove this rubber cover. And sometimes this is easier said than done. Come on. Really? There we go. There. So now the little cover comes off. Okay? So inside of here, you have this little guy in the middle. Okay? That's your wireless dongle. Okay? I don't know if you can guys see right here. See this little button sticking up? Right above my finger?
Yeah. Yeah.
So to reset the VCM, you'll have nothing plugged into it. You'll hold this button down. Okay? Unplug that. So you're going to want this cable plugged into your laptop with the VCI manager open. We are going to hold this button down. Okay? Our little button right here. We're going to hold it down. And you're going to insert the USB cable. And you're going to hold this until it beeps. It's going to go beep. Let go of the button. And then on your VCI manager, it will say recover. And you will run through the recovery. It, once again, takes about 15 minutes or so to do the recovery. Okay? So if you guys are having a VCM that's being glitchy, keeps losing communication, doing some weird stuff, the first thing I'm going to tell you to do if you call me, hard reset your VCM. That's how you do it. Okay? It's easy to do. Super simple, but that's how you hard reset a VCM. Okay? And by the way, Tracy.
That's yours.
That's yours.
Good. Hey, by the way, you updated this one for me the other day. It still tells me when I'm programming, it's 45 days old. What does that mean?
Shouldn't.
Well, that's what it told me last time I was trying to update a Ford. It said your VCI is 45 days, has not been updated in 45 days.
Okay, I'll look at it.
Now, the latest software that was downloaded to it was from November of 17.
Yeah, that's right. November 13, 17 was the last true update for it.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. So any questions on the IDS download, FDRS download, or VCI manager or updating your VCMs?
No.
Okay. All right, so the next one we're going to tackle is GDS. Okay. So I'm going to open up GDS here. All right, so we got GDS pulled up, right? Down here it says days remaining until lease expires. I have 27 days till mine expires. However, whenever you see a big old fat zero down there, guess what you have to do? You
Expired.
gotta renew the lease. Okay. So to renew this lease, we're going to go into GM. Then you go to TS2 Web. So where you guys go into SBS to go program. All right. So sometimes if you, I'm going to show you this. So to update your to validate your license and to update GDS, you're going to open up, you're going to click on GDS, you're going to click Start GDS. Surprised this is doing this quick. So because mine's up to date, it didn't upload anything, but it's basically just click yes all the way through it, and it will install it. Now, I do want to show you guys something that I ran into. All right, so mine did it, and I'm going to show you what the problem is. So you guys are going to put in you guys are going to be hooked up to a vehicle, and the VIN's going to be grayed out down here, and it's not going to let you continue. Okay? Like, what the hell? What's going on here? So here's the funny thing is that when GDS updates sometimes, it doesn't go into the right session. Okay? If you look down here at the bottom, what does it say?
Medium duty truck.
Medium duty truck. Now, last time I checked, the Corvette was not a medium duty truck. Okay? So, if you go over to back, and you go to Manage Diagnostic Packages, hey, look, GDM Global. Install it. Restarting application. Hey, look what it says now.
GM Global.
GM Global. Okay. So if you guys update your GDS and it's not connecting to the vehicle, make sure you're on the right platform. It seems to be doing this more and more often with it staying on MD Truck and not on Global. I probably do about 2 or 3 a week. Like, man, it won't work. Well, check down there, see if it says MD Truck. So if you guys are into that, that's how you fix it. So another thing is if you've gone through the renewal or the lease update, and it still says 0 days found in lease, okay? This is another problem. So if you come up here and you click the little heartbeat looking thing, you're going to click it and open it. Run. Here it says delete software key. You're going to click delete software key and then rerun your GDS, and it will activate the lease at that point. Okay? So it's only set up to run so many keys at one time. So if you're on your 10th GDS update, it may not go past that until you delete that software key. So if you go in and you update your GDS and it still says 0 days left on lease, go in and delete the software key, and it will work. Okay? Man, should have drank all that Dr. Pepper. So I want to show you guys also real quick. So how many guys use the Tech2 emulator?
I haven't.
Wow. Does it still
I've
work?
used it a few times.
All right, so we all know what this is, right? You see this little fun little thing that pops up here. Your license has expired
Yeah.
or does not exist. Okay? So the first thing is that you have to have your Tech 2 open. Ta-da! We'll come back over here. And we are going to go to security. Start download. Your device has a Tech 2. So you see your Tech 2's got all the bars and stuff going across the screen. Just like your old eTech 2, you know, the old handheld version, does the same thing, okay? But you have to have the Tech 2 emulator open for it to do this. So once this is complete, your Tech 2 emulator then will work for 30 days, just like GDS, okay? Come on, you can do it. All right, now you're good to go. Tech 2 emulator works. Okay. All right. So, any questions on Tech 2 emulator or GDS?
No.
Okay.
Woo!
That. All right, so those are your two easiest ones to update. Okay. So why Tech 2.0 doesn't require any updates because it's internet based. Okay. So you don't really have to mess with updating that. So the other one that we need to keep up to date on a routine basis is going to be your TechStream. So I want to show you guys a few things with TechStream that are important. Okay, so the first thing is this is your version number. Okay, it's down here or it's up here. Okay, and then down here is if you have a valid license and how long it's good for. Okay. So if we come here and we click this check for updates, okay, it doesn't work for us. Okay, we're not a dealer. Okay, doesn't work for us. So what we have to do is we have to come over here to the good old intro web. So you guys, I presume most of you know at this point that the hyperlink doesn't work for Toyota in Dropbox or in RoboForm and on your desktop. Okay. So the reason for that is because of Toyota's security with their website. You can't have multiple logins, so that's why you have to go through this method of Googling it. And we're going to go to Toyota Tech Info. We're going to log in. And we're going to go up here to TIS. Then we're going to go to diagnostics. Okay. So right here is your TechStream updates. Okay. Don't worry about these. Okay. So do any of you guys have a Mongoose MFC? The Toyota one?
No.
No? Nick, I think you guys do, don't you?
I've only got the Mongoose GM2.
Okay. All right. Well, if any of you do have a Mongoose MFC, Drew Tech does not supply the drivers for that anymore on their website because the Mongoose MFC is actually TechStream Lite, the OEM interface for Toyota for TechStream Lite. So you can download the drivers from right here. Okay. So if you guys end up, if you end up needing an MFC and you have it, you probably don't have the drivers for it, and you can get them from right here on the Toyota website. There's 3 different versions of the MFC. One is a clear case, which I don't think there's any of them left in the company. And there's, I think, quite a few of the blue ones still out there. And we don't have any of the green ones, okay? So you're probably going to have a blue one, and most everybody's on a 64-bit PCs at this point. So you're going to run the 64-bit driver for it, okay? So to update TechStream, so we have version 12.3, or later, you can update. So does anybody remember what my version number was?
12 something. I can't remember.
Nope.
Man, what good are you guys? All right, so
1210.
I'm at 12.10, so I have to do a full install, okay? So we're going to do the full install. And make sure on, for Toyota and Ford, make sure you hit save and not run because it won't install properly. It'll partially install it or it won't install it at all. And you've basically wasted like 20 minutes of your life. So make sure you click save. For some reason on these two, it makes a difference. On all the other ones, it really doesn't. But for TechStream, it does make a difference. And I'm going to go through and actually update this because I want to show you guys because I get calls almost constantly about the TechStream keys, okay? So your key is your software key, right, to make your software work. So we've had some issues, and I think we figured out what the problem is because we had this issue with the Volkswagen computer, one of the Otis computers, is that on the guys that are running Windows 10, if your PC goes through one of the major updates, it actually changes the hardware ID of your computer. And when that hardware ID changes, the key is no longer valid for that hardware ID of that computer. So that's why we're having these computers that are constantly dropping out of their software keys is because they're changing the hardware ID whenever the computer updates. Okay, so instead of you guys calling me or Jason or Billy to get your software keys because you guys don't really know how to use the key generator, I'm going to show you guys how to do it. And you think for having really fast internet, this would go way faster.
Most of this update you're wanting done, Steve, is at night.
Yeah, I want you guys to do these updates, preferably at home on your home Wi-Fi. 2 reasons for that. One is after we use a certain amount of data, we get throttled. And then it runs slow. I get mad because I've tried to log into your guys' computers and they don't work. That's annoying. So I want you guys to do them at home. And also is, you get to a job and your IDS won't program because you're like 20 updates out. Okay. So, like I said, make a mental note of when, like especially IDS, because it updates quite routinely, of when these updates come out, and make sure you keep your stuff up to date. Toyota's one that updates about every quarter, roughly. TechStream doesn't make a huge amount of changes. It's mainly just for new models is mainly what they're changing. Because like Ford, GM, Chrysler, they're changing stuff all the time. Toyota really doesn't make prolific changes and things. They kind of stick to what works, and they pretty much just run with it. But the biggest reason that you guys need to have your TechStream up to date is, one, we are working on newer cars, right? We're working on 18s. If you're running 4 or 5 versions out, you may not be able to properly communicate with an 18. It's on a new platform or something like that. And then also another thing that you run into with having an out-of-date TechStream is the immobilizer. If you're too far out, your immobilizer functions will cease to work. So that's another reason why you guys need to keep your Toyotas up to date. Really on Toyota, if you do it every quarter or even every 6 months, you're usually just fine with it. It's not something that needs to be constantly updated. Once a quarter, once every 6 months, make sure your TechStream is up to date. If you know you're going to go do an immobilizer on like a 16, 17, make sure your TechStream's up to date, and then you're going to do it. So usually the big TechStream updates are when new models come out. So around June, July, you start getting the 2019s starting to come in. So that's generally whenever TechStream starts making some updates.
It's almost done.
Almost. I have way too much stuff on my computer. Is anybody else almost tapped out a 1 terabyte hard drive?
Not even close.
I've got like 120 gigs left in this thing. All right, so our TechStream is now up to date. So we can get rid of that. We're going to go up here, we're going to open up our Toyota. We're at 13.10.19 now, and guess what? We need a software key. All right, so this is your software ID. This is your hardware ID, okay? So this number is specific to a particular PC, okay? So we're going to come over here. Really? All right, so you're going to go into your log me in, go to CCC, CCC2, that's the one we want. Ta-da! Goodbye. Nope. Goodbye. Nope. Yes. Aha! All right, so this is your Toyota key generator. Okay. So the first thing that we have to make sure of is your version. Okay. So our version is 13.10.19. And we are going to get rid of that. And you're going to come over, you're going to copy the software ID. And we're going to go back to here. And you're going to paste it in the ID. We're going to click Get. Really?
Not responding. This is just like every day.
There you go.
Oh,
Ugh.
really?
Somebody logged into CC and kicked me out.
For those that don't pay attention, when CCC computer is green, that is an indication that someone is in there.
All right, so we're going to click Get.
And wait.
It's like drag racing. Hurry up and wait.
Yep.
Well, I think the server's down.
Hey, Mike, did you fix your Lexus the other day? No start?
No.
It didn't work or what?
It didn't work. I tried the door thing 3 times, shut the door 3 times. Didn't change nothing. But they got the door tour part on it.
Yeah, but nothing's in the door?
Yeah, the door switch and stuff was unplugged. I plugged it up, so I can roll the window up and down. And the lock locks. The remote works at the door.
That's got to work. And like that should actually reset it. I've not ever had it not to.
Well, it looks like the key server's down. Go figure. Just my luck.
But right there, it should give you the new one to insert. Copy and paste.
Yeah, so it's going to give you 4 options on the generator. And the top one will say NA. NA stands for North America, which is the one that we want to use. And I'm going to absolutely castrate whoever keeps kicking me out of CCC2.
Huh?
So once I figure out who the dipshit is that keeps fucking kicking me out, so you're going to see three things at the bottom that one says NA, one says JP, one says B. You're going to click the one that says NA. You're going to copy it. You're going to paste it into here. and your software will then run. Okay? All right, 09 Pontiac G8. Tim, find that invoice.
Pontiac G8. Yes, sir. We got 4 people on the computer. I'm on it.
All right. Okay. So, Toyota. All right. So, the next one I want to show you guys is Honda. So, Honda does require routine updates. Okay. The cool thing about Honda is that they're actually really easy to do. And they're generally pretty quick if you have a good internet connection.
IHD on.
Yeah, so IHDS or Honda, however it's however your Honda virtual machine is set up.
That's the one I couldn't get working on mine the other day.
Yeah, probably because it's not been fixed.
It ain't been updated. Not by me, anyway.
Yep. So while this is going over there for a second, so most of you guys have the Smart Sensor Pros, the tire pressure tools. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. So those are easily updatable. So if you go to their website, click right here, and it'll download the application, okay? And it'll pop up over here. All right, so then you got the application pulled up.
Bingo. 09 Pontiac G8 out of Georgia. BLITZ.
Blitz.
Blitz. We got an employee named Blitz.
Yep, and I heard he's good at the bop. All right, so you just need your little USB cable, and you're going to plug it into the bottom of your Smart Sensor Pro. All right, see it says update over there. Then on here it's going to say bootloader. and you just click update. And it's going to update it. Okay. If you guys are having issues out of your Smart Sensor Pros, update them. The updates have fixed quite a few issues that they've had with them. One of the biggest issues that's fixed is them saying that the battery is low and it's not. That was a major issue with these things. And it's also helped with some of the issues with Fords. Seems to be helping a little bit with them. So it's a quick, easy little update on them. And then also the OBD dongle. It has the same USB port. It updates the exact same way. Okay. Most of the updates on these don't take very long to do. I want to say, guys. So most of these updates don't take very long to do on these smart sensors. Just make sure you update the actual tool and the dongle at the same time. Okay. If you don't update the dongle, they tend to have some issues with them not quite working right, where the tool itself won't actually see the dongle when you have it connected. So make sure that you do update the little dongle to go with it. So that's how you guys update your Smart Sensor Pros. Sorry, it's taking a minute for my Honda. I forgot that I was in the middle of updating the OS, and I never restarted. So it's going to take a second for it to finish with that.
Steve, I really appreciate these. It's something that we have to be reminded of. We get lazy and forget.
Yeah, it's really important to keep this stuff up to date. You know, even your computer itself, you know, you need to make sure that you keep it up to date. You know, for the guys running Windows 10 PCs, you can go over and open up your Katana. Over on your start menu, open up your Katana and type in Windows Updates, and it'll pull up the app to check for Windows Updates. And make sure you do them. It does help with compatibility issues and certain things like drivers and stuff that aren't working properly. It does help with them. So make sure you do keep that kind of stuff up to date as well. For the few guys that are still on Windows 7, it's just as easy. You come over here and you type in, so you can't type. Check for updates. Install updates. That easy. But make sure you guys keep your stuff up to date. You know, if you pull this up, it says, you know, like most recent installed updates, 7.12.17, you should probably update your tool. Be a good idea. You know, all this stuff requires a certain amount of upkeep. You know, when you guys start having issues out of your computers, you know, sometimes it's as simple as, you know, your stuff's not up to date. And that goes with any of this stuff. You know, you have to keep it up to date. If you don't, it starts, you know, becoming problematic. You know, we see that with our wonderful little Maxis. You know, when they get out of date, they start to get glitchy. You know, so which those freaking updates should have been here by now.
That's unbelievable. You can make that kind of a purchase and nobody gives a shit. We're talking thousands, right, Steve?
Yeah, about $3,000.
Yeah, I'd be all over filling that fucking order.
Yeah, well, it's Alltel. That's all I gotta say about that.
Yeah, why worry about little pennies?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Alltel. Look, their equipment's great. It is, but their customer service and support is garbage.
Honestly, guys, that's half of it. You see the way we work, and if we can't have a company that can support us and we can reach out to and get help from, they are damn near worthless to us.
I told a guy at Alltel one time that North Korea has better customer service. He thought it was funny. I didn't laugh. And then I told the supervisor,
Kim's wrong.
like, dude, you know, we spend a lot of money with Alltel. You know, there's 60 some devices at roughly an average of $2,000 a piece. You know, there's 64 devices. Do the math. You know, so I think there should be some decent level of customer service, you know, on this stuff. But
It's not a one-time purchase thing, is it? I thought there would be like a subscription for updates.
yeah, that's what we have. We have to buy the subscriptions, and we get a break through Alltel, you know, on the updates. But it's a beating to get them. Then once you finally get it, you know, they tell you, oh yeah, they shipped, and they don't ship. And you know, it's like out of all this equipment, the easiest people to deal with is Bosch. I love Bosch. They're so easy to deal with. Like Tracy's VCM that went bad. You just go online, you fill out their little form, you print it off, you stick it in the box, and you send it to them. And then they email you back and say, it's trash, you get a new one. You know, if it's in warranty, you know, I think it's like $100 deductible. If it's out, like this VCM, Tracy's took a dive. They couldn't fix it. $300. Out of warranty. $300 for a brand new one. You know, it's, come on.
Hey, how often did you say the tire tool need to be updated?
Which one?
The Pro Tire tool.
Check it monthly.
Monthly.
Yeah, that seems to be about when they do updates on them, is about monthly, roughly.
That's the biggest part I'm getting is how often to do this stuff.
Yeah, you need to check all updates. You know, your GDS stuff is obvious. You know, it gives you a time, you know, 30 days. You know, IDS, you need to check, you know, every 2-3 weeks, at least for updates. You know, you can go on there and look at when they're coming out and remember to do your updates.
My IDS usually pops up on the computer.
Yeah, some of them do, some of them don't. That's kind of why I was getting into this, is because sometimes that updater does work, sometimes it doesn't.
I got one to do now. It just come up the other day.
Yep. They come up pretty periodically. I thought the stupid Honda thing was done this morning. I guess it's not. Well, this is doing anything. Anybody got any just general questions about anything?
Actually, I did have a question about that Mongoose. What's the difference between the MFC and the GM2 that we have?
All right, so the biggest difference between the GM Pro 2 and the MFC is the GM2 is what they call an open protocol, J2534. So it's pretty much compatible with any emissions-related programming that you need to do. So it will do. It'll update Fords for emissions. It'll do, of course, your General Motors stuff. It does Toyota. It does Honda. It does a whole bunch of things, but it's more geared towards emissions. Okay, so it'd be CARB compliant, EPA compliant with with the being able to update control units and stuff like that. The MFC was originally designed as TechStream Lite. So Toyota went to Drew Technologies and said, we need a simple interface device that is completely compatible with TechStream. We really don't care what else is capable of doing, but we need to have it fully capable for the usage of TechStream. So Mongoose or Drew Tech designed the MFC for TechStream Lite. So it has enhanced capability of the protocols for immobilizer systems is kind of the big one, is that it is fully capable of doing immobilizers. The only thing it won't do is 2014 and up smart keys. It doesn't like it. But everything else it'll do just fine. But it's just your 14 up smart keys. It kind of has a little bit of an issue with them. And the Cardac, the Pass-Through Pro, works fine for those. The MFC will do the smart keys 2014 and up as long as they have a master key. If they have a master key, it'll work. If all keys are lost, you need to have a Pass-Through Pro or the Cardac to be able to do them.
Okay. So the only issues I'm going to run into with a Pro 2 is going to be immobilizers and smart keys 14 and up.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, those are the only ones you really will have an issue with.
But you said the Cardac M will work, right?
Yeah, the Cardac will do it.
Okay, cool.
The biggest issue really is with the smart keys on the 14s and up is that the Mongoose has no way to actually turn the ignition on because it's done through the scan tool, and the Cardac can't.
Okay.
So that's where you run into the problem is that the Mongoose has no way of actually turning on the vehicle, and the Cardac does, and so does the Pass-Through Pro.
Gotcha. Okay.
They're both capable of doing that. All right, so over here, so now this is fully up to date, okay? On here, I know there's a glare on it, but you have to unplug the USB cable for it to go out of bootloader. It'll say wait. And it'll turn off. When you power it back on, it'll have the newest version number. And that's it. It's up to date. We all know that this thing is not the greatest tool out there, but the updates do help.
What? I love it.
Be a good boat anchor, I guess.
Like I honestly have not ran into any issues with it, but then again,
I hadn't either.
I don't do too many TPMS stuff. But I mean, it's been great for me for getting sensor IDs, and that's about all I use it for.
Yeah, it's the thing is that these things are a little hit and miss. Sometimes they work great, sometimes they don't. The one I had when I was a tech, it pretty much just set my van. I didn't touch it. I had a bar tech. It worked every time. I didn't have any issues with it, so
Those new
Go ahead.
Those new Maxis with the built-in TPMS, I'm assuming they work a lot better.
Yes, much. And the cool thing about those is they walk you through the procedure, which is really cool. So you don't have to like go and look it up. Like on the Fords, where you have to, turn the key on, hit the brakes 3 times, turn the key back off, hit the brake, turn the key back on, hit it 3 times, all that nonsense. So instead of having to look it up, it's all on there. And it makes it really easy. It also gives you all the information for doing the indirect TPMS systems, like on your newer Hondas. I remember when those newer Hondas first came out with the indirect TPMS, one of our Dallas technicians told the shop there was no sensors in the wheels. So the shop went and bought 4 sensors, put them in the car. They'll read, but you could never get them to learn.
Okay.
So he calls me. He's like, "Man, I can't get this thing to work." I'm like, "Well, what is it?" He's like, "It's a 15 Civic. There is no sensors in the wheels. It's indirect. You do it through the cluster." "You serious?" "Yeah, serious." So I show him how to do it through the cluster, and he's like, "You gotta be kidding me." I'm like, "Your secret's safe with me. It's just got 4 sensors in the wheels now. Just let it go."
I mean, it's just reading difference in wheel speed between tires, right?
Yep. If memory serves me correctly, I believe that Porsche was the first one to use indirect.
I don't think I've came across that yet. Is it a drive procedure?
Yep.
You just go in the information display on a lot of the new ones, and you go in there and recalibrate TPMS and just drive it.
Yep.
It works pretty good too. I have a newer Civic, and when it first come out, when I worked for Honda, I was wondering how accurate it would be, but it'll definitely let you know if your tire's low.
Here's another thing when I ran into on one of these indirect systems. I had a Volkswagen Jetta that had indirect, and at least 2 tires. Well, they put 2 tires on it, and the other 2 were racing flicks. So guess what it thinks? It's got low tire pressure. Try to explain that one to insurance people.
Yeah, that's always a fun one.
Yep. So what I ended up doing was I underinflated the new tires a little bit, overinflated the old tires a little bit. Got it to work.
I've seen it cause like traction control lights and cruise control issues on some cars too.
Oh yeah. Yep. That would cause all sorts of fun issues. It was like I had a Volkswagen Rabbit one time that they put an ABS module in it, and it kept setting TPMS light, and it had indirect TPMS. And man, I fought with this car for probably 3/4 of the day. And I'm like, man, everything's right on this thing. I don't understand what the issue is. So I ended up calling Rostec. I'm like, man, I got this Volkswagen Rabbit with this TPMS. She goes, you have the wrong coating. I'm like, well, I use a coating helper, on VCDS. And she was like, yeah. She's like, that one has a weird coating. So she gives me the coating for it. I put it in, it works fine. That's freaking awesome. That's kind of stuff that, fun things that we run into.
Absolutely.
Kind of like whenever your Honda virtual machine decides, hey, I need to update. And I thought it was done updating, and I open it up and it says it didn't finish updating. It's pretty awesome. Love this stuff. It's great. So one thing you guys really don't have to worry too much about, but I'll hit on it since we're killing some time here, is our dedicated scanners, right? Like our Jag Land Rover, Otis, Ista, and Xentry. They all also require periodic updates as well. Even the console should update the console. It's a joke. But go figure, Nissan would make something really easy, really hard.
Oh, shit.
But like the JLR tool, it updates really easy if you guys have it, with you. If you guys have the JLR scanner with you, updating it's really easy. It actually updates just like Honda. They're easy to update. Make sure you keep them up to date. Same thing with the Otis. If you have the Otis with you, it's easy to update it. Make sure you keep it up to date. Especially with the Otis, if you don't keep it up to date, whenever it does update, it will take forever to update. It's the same thing with JLR. If you don't update the JLR routinely, you can be a day and a half, 2 days in updates if you don't keep up with them. This is ridiculous. This whole time we've been talking, we're 85%.
85%.
Different day.
I just did this morning, did all the updates on it, said it was done, and it wasn't. Anybody else have any software questions on anything, or?
I mean, I think it's being handled already, but the only thing I've really ran into that's became a big issue is just GDS2 not opening.
You had that same issue?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I haven't had it recently because I haven't had to use GDS2 recently, but it was happening pretty often a couple months ago. But I think that ended up being like a JavaScript issue that got resolved, hopefully.
Yeah. It was like Michael's. That thing went all sorts of haywire. I still don't know how entire folders were missing out of that computer. The entire Java script for GDS was gone. And you could download it, and it just vanished.
That's weird.
Yeah, Billy and I messed with it for 2 hours, and finally I just told John, I'm like, all right, here's the files you need to copy from your computer and put them onto Michael's, and it'll work. Which is what he ended up doing, but hey.
Oh, they got resolved?
Yeah, John got it fixed last night.
Oh, okay.
or this morning. He copied all the files and dumped them into his, and it worked. All right, so I'm going to go over a few things in Honda. There's a few things. So a lot of you guys are still haven't had your Honda fixed so that it's working properly. I know a lot of them have been done. I know Billy and I have done probably at least 80% of them at this point. If you guys, I'm going to show you how to check to make sure that you have the correct version, and how to update it, and actually what some of these tools do in Honda, and why you have to keep them up to date as soon as this opens. See, this is why you don't max out your hard drive and your RAM and your computers. You end up like this.
That's it.
You would think for as well equipped as this computer is that it would do this stuff a lot quicker, but it doesn't.
Only 1 terabyte? What?
And 16 gigs of RAM.
Well, I hate to do something boring, but we want to do roll
There
call.
we go.
Oh, there it goes.
All right, so on here. All right, so on here you have your Honda Download Manager. Okay, so your Honda Download Manager is what controls all of your downloads, your licensing, everything for HDS, IHDS. Okay. So the cool thing about HDS in general is that it's actually an intelligent system. So if the vehicle's HDS, the software will run HDS. If it's an IHDS car, it will run IHDS. It's kind of cool. So we have to keep this bad boy up to date. So to do so, you come down here to your little thing that says Show Hidden Icons. And you got your little download manager here. You're going to right click on it. And you're going to go to check and install. And it's going to check for updates. So the first thing it's going to do is going to update your Honda Download Manager. Okay. There's an update available for it. It's going to update it first before it updates any one of the other sub applications. Okay. So this was at 70. We went up to 71. So I last updated this about a week ago. So Honda is pretty quick on their updates. If we weren't running this in a virtual machine, if we were running it on your normal machine, it would do all these updates automatically. But since we do run them in virtual machines, they do not run automatically because your virtual machine isn't always running. So now whenever it does the Honda Download Manager, here in a second, the icon is going to disappear. And then it's going to pop back on here. There it goes. And in a moment, it's going to come back up. So don't freak out. Whenever you see your HDS Download Manager icon go away, it will come back. Not the end of the world. It's just going to take a few moments for it to restart the application. And then you can proceed with your... Oh. Well, while that's loading, so on Honda, does everybody know what the J2534 rewrite does?
Nope.
So the J2534 rewrite is how you program or update PCMs. Okay. Well, I say PCMs. Transmission controls, engine controls, multimedia, are all updated through the J2534 rewrite app. So that's what it's there for. You have a J2534 rewrite special that's down at the bottom. That's down here. This is just for special applications. The main thing that is used for is updating ABS modules is what it's mainly used for. And then you have your EPS rewrite, which is for electronic power steering, and your Honda Accords. They're the only ones that use that EPS rewrite function. All right, so CRHDS is back up over here. So now it's going through, it's going to check for updates of all of these other applications, okay? So now it's downloading those, okay? So the other thing I want to show you is you're going to go back over here, you're going to open up your download manager.
And something's supposed to happen.
Well, I was going to try to show you an easier way to do something, but it's not going to want to do it. All right, so we're going to do it this way. So to see if you guys have the proper Honda version, you're going to open IHDS. Hey, whatever. I don't care what interface we're using, doesn't matter. So who knows why we run Mazda and Honda in virtual machines?
Because they don't play nice together.
Yep, they don't play nice with Ford. Because the same company, Teledyne, that makes HDS, Mazda IDS, and Ford IDS, it's all the same people. If you run HDS on the same computer as IDS for Ford or Mazda, HDS will actually try to extract files from each other. So, in theory, you could actually program a Honda with a Ford file.
That bitch run good.
Yeah, I don't think running good would be. All right, so. All right, fat fingered that. So up here, you got the little padlock. God, this thing is running like unbelievably slow. That is ridiculous. There. Let's do it this way. So, you're down here, you're going to right click on here, you're going to open your Honda Download Manager. So, up here at the top, this is our dealer number, okay? And we are a vehicle security professional, okay? If it does not have this at the top when you open it, you do not have the correct version of HDS, okay? So if you do not have this, you need to get a hold of Billy or I, and we will instruct you on how to fix this, okay? It's kind of a pain. It takes a while, and it's a lot easier if you have a decent internet connection, okay? So when you click check and install, it's going to check for updates. So everything's updating. So it's going to update the J2534 rewrite app. It's going to download DSTI and the immobilizer tool. Okay, so those are the updates it's going to do. And you can use HDS while it's doing updates. It's not going to hurt anything. It's not going to interfere with it at all. See if I can get this to work real quick. It's running stupid. Well, so that's how you update your Honda, and you need to do it pretty routinely, just like Ford. Whenever you update Ford, update Honda. Do it at the same time. Okay? See, what kills me is all this stuff. It's like most of you guys only have 2 virtual machines. Shut down. I have that many virtual machines. Come on, shut down. There we go. All right, so another one that I want to show you guys is going to be Mazda. Some of you guys have Mazda and Subaru on your Mazda VMs. If you don't, you only have Mazda. The Subaru stuff really doesn't require any updates. It's kind of what's installed is what's there. But Mazda does require some updates. Okay, so Mazda doesn't quite update like Ford IDS does. It does update a little bit differently. Okay, so whenever we go to update our Mazda, all right, so the same thing with Ford IDS, right? So 109.6, okay? So if you want to update it, okay, there's a few different ways you can go about it. You can click here, go down to here, and if it'll allow you to do the update through IDS, there will be another one here that says update, okay? And this one I think is too far out. Another thing you do is click on network options and click start test. So this is licensing server communication. That's why there's nothing there, okay? So to update it, go to Mazda Service Info, and the login and password I believe is still in Dropbox. So this is what it looks like, okay? So you're gonna log in. Later, Tater. Okay. All right, so now we're logged in, and we're gonna go up here to IDS. And right here says click to download application of IDS software. Okay, and that's where you update it from. Okay, that's from the Mazda Service Info website. If there's an update for the Mazda VCM manager, it'll pop up down here. But they haven't updated their VCI manager in a long time. And they probably won't ever update it because they are going away from IDS starting in 2020. They will have no more IDS-based vehicles. They're going to their own proprietary system. It's very similar to the Hyundai Kia tablets is what Mazda is going to. But that is how you do that. Now, also one thing that's in here in Mazda Service Info is key codes for the in-out codes. On 2012 and up, you have to get them through Mazda. And also you can submit for as-built data if you can't get it from Motorcraft Service. They do email it to you. So you do the as-built requests, put in the VIN and what you need, and they'll email it to the info email, and one of the dispatchers will see it and forward it on to you. And then for the key codes, you have to buy them. I think they're like $20 a piece. You log in via NASTIF, and
Thought I saw a $10 price.
are they $10?
I thought.
Yeah, $10. So that's how you get your in-out codes on 2012 and up, where you need in-out codes. Is going to be in there. So that's how you update your Mazda. Your Mazda stuff. The same thing goes with your VCM manager. It's the exact same as Ford's. It looks the same as Ford's. It doesn't. They don't work together. Kind of the same thing. See, their version is a little bit newer, but it's probably the last update that they'll ever have for the VCM manager. But the same thing goes for the Mazda VCMs. If you need to update it and or reset one, that's how you go about doing it. One last thing that I want to show you guys. I know some of you guys have had issues with your virtual machines being really glitchy. And, you know, running abnormally slow like mine do, because mine's a different issue than what you guys have. But I want to show you guys how to update your actual virtual machine software, because this will make your VMs run smoother. So over here, you guys all have this on your desktops. It's the Oracle VirtualBox. So in here has your active virtual machine. So you guys will have Honda and Mazda. Okay. So you come up here you go to a file, check for updates. Of course, I'm running the most recent, but it'll give you a little hyperlink on here. Whenever you open that up, and you just walk through it, just yes, 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 and then it'll ask you to install the extension. You just click yes, 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 and it will make your virtual machines run way better. Also, some things that you might want to check if you have a VM that's running really slow, or just generally acting a little weird, like it wants to crash and stuff. So most of you guys with newer PCs are running 8 gigs of RAM. So you can go into here. So I'm going to use my Mazda, for instance. You can right click on it, go to settings. And you're going to go to system. And you can change the amount of RAM that's used in the system. Okay? So if you get over past here, it's going to crash. Right? It's just going to kill your computer. So try to run it somewhere in the middle. If it's way down here, you might want to bring it up a little bit. You know, help it run a little bit smoother. Also, another thing that can mess with them, which it won't even run, is if you have your CPU the wrong way. All of you guys run 2 CPUs in your computer. But that's another thing that'll mess with them too. But if you have one that's run a little odd, you know, you can come in here and bump that up just a little bit, and it does help quite a bit with the way that you run. But make sure you keep this up to date. This isn't as critical. It's one of those once a quarter kind of things. Check it. See if there's an update. But it will help your virtual machines run a little bit better. That's really it on the major stuff. You know, just keep your stuff up to date. It's important. You know, I don't know how many times it happens daily. You know, guys got to a shop and like, this thing will work. Well, you're out of date. So now you get to sit there and
Wait.
And you know, that's kind of why I wanted to do this tonight. Is one, it saves you guys a ton of time. You know, if you're not keeping your stuff up to date and you get out to a job and your Ford's like 8 versions back, I don't have much empathy for you sitting out in the heat. I really don't. You know, just
Looks like a very honest,
you get to sit out there and be hot.
looks like a very honest face.
It is. You know, I mean, you know, it is what it is, guys. But anyway, anybody have any questions? Anything they're unsure of?
Kind of a random one about the Mazda key codes. That $10 charge, do they have a web page where you put in credit card information? Do I use my company card that I have personally, or do I contact John?
Nope, use your card.
Okay.
And guys, that goes with
Whoa.